Hello, everyone. Get ready for NBA action live on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan, joined by my partners Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. So for the Mavericks, their last game, a loss to the Pistons. And they were still in that one right up to the end, guys, but lost by a couple of buckets.
And guys, had their free throw shooting been anywhere near up to par, I think it would have changed everything in that game.
No doubt about it. I mean, there is a carryover effect when you're not having success at the line. It infiltrates other parts of your game.
So let's take a look at the starters for the Dallas Mavericks. The forwards, Sean Marion and Dirk Nowitzki. Carter is out there with Mayo, and it's Kaman in at the center. And for the Clippers, Crawford and Butler out on the perimeter. DeAndre Jordan is out there with Hill, and it's Paul in at the 1.
DeAndre Jordan signed that big offer sheet with Golden State last year. The Clippers matched it, knowing that Jordan had a bright future ahead of him. And I think they're counting on him making big improvement over the next several years.
Now here's Paul. Vince Carter missing his last shot. The drive by Hill. Good, and Paul gets the assist.
That's exactly what they had in mind on that possession.
The Clippers on defense.
And, you know, for DeAndre Jordan, guys, with his size and athleticism, remember now, he can almost dunk without jumping. It's certainly easy to see why teams would want him. I mean, he'd be coveted because of his ability and potential. He's got a lot of room to grow, but the physical tools are already on full display.
Mayo, that's good.
Well, he wasn't going to miss that. I mean, they were way too late to get to him out there.
Let's send it out to Doris Burke, who caught up with head coach Rick Carlisle. Doris?
I asked him about their defensive strategy, Kevin, and he said their #1 concern was taking away any paths to the basket. He said, I don't care how far off them we have to play. We want them taking jumpers and threes, not running at the rim looking to throw it down on us. He's trying to take away their launching point, Kevin.
And thanks for that story, Doris.
Boy, that is a tremendous jam. I mean, is he a crowd pleaser or what?
Oh, definitely. One of the NBA's best if you're talking about sheer power.
Yeah, guys who can throw it down like that don't come around very often.
And that was Sprite bringing you the close-up on that big-time play.
You know, guys, one of the reasons Dallas did not re-sign Tyson Chandler last year was they wanted to preserve some cap space. And they had Dwight Howard in mind, but Dallas has had to use their cap space elsewhere. But, you know, the key was just developing enough flexibility to give them a lot of different options. And I think that's always a factor for any NBA team.
And here is Paul. Vince Carter getting it to go from deep. Second shot opportunity, and Jordan with the layup. Jordan's got his first 2 points.
Well, not only does he excel at getting those offensive rebounds, but he's really good getting putbacks and layups off of those boards.
Dallas, to me, Steve, always seems a team very mindful of upcoming free agents and cap space restrictions. One of the reasons why they made the moves last year. Even if, Clark, they don't get a big name, they always seem to be in the mix somewhere.
Well, they're always hovering around, and I think it points to the savvy of the front office there, Kevin. I mean, and that's really what allows teams to be competitive over long periods of time. It's not just about the players you have and their talent, but it's how you acquire players and piece together your team.
They're very forward-thinking, right?
Yeah.
He hangs in there and cashes in on the second chance points.
And that's a really deft touch right there, guys.
And he just guided that ball back up and in. You know, Clark, just a fingertip touch on the ball.
Really well done.
Yeah, you don't need to catch it and gather and try to go back up if you've got that type of angle. And he really took advantage.
And here is Paul. O.J. Mayo getting it to go from deep. It's Crawford on the wing. Over Kaman. Crawford, no luck.
Yeah, that's very uncharacteristic for him to miss that shot with such little defensive pressure.
That's good.
Yeah, they gave him just a little bit too much breathing room there.
Clippers trail by 4. Paul with the ball. He's coming off a 16-point game against Utah.
He put a lot of pressure on his opponent defensively, too. He had 3 steals in that game.
Now here's Butler. Over Marion. And Butler gets it to go. The Mavericks have gotten 4 of 6 field goal attempts to drop in the first quarter. And it's Nowitzki missing. Clippers have gone 6 of 10 from the field in this ball game.
Yeah, their offense struggled for almost that entire game. You know, whenever they did start to put together something during a decent stretch, it just seemed to end just as quickly as it began.
Yeah, but even so, there weren't many of those decent stretches. I mean, talk about being in a rut. Well, the Clippers needed somebody to fill their shooting guard role, and it's been a turnstile since last year. But Jamal Crawford looks to be their answer. I think that's a nice signing they made in the offseason.
Clippers have gone 7 of 11 from the field to begin the game. It's Crawford on the wing. Beyond the arc. They get it back. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
You know, Caron Butler has reinvented himself here in the latter stages of his NBA career, Kevin. He used to be a slasher, a guy who would get to the rim. Now he's more of a spot-up shooter, but he's still a player who makes a major impact on the game.
Yeah, he does a good job moving without the ball and causing problems for bigs that are trying to guard him. The thing with Caron is that even though he isn't as tall as some of the post players he faces, he's just as strong and uses his quickness to an advantage.
Well, going back to Crawford for a second, I mean, you think about the way he shoots the ball, his ability to create shots. There's no question he's going to help this Clipper offense. I think the big thing with Crawford is always shot selection. He can be so shot happy that he can shoot you in a game, he can shoot you out of it. But you've got Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. You just got to be efficient. You don't have to be special.
Dallas has gone 4 of 5 from three-point land to get things going here in the first. Nowitzki dishes to Mayo. Carter for 3, and that one's good. Carter's got 11 points.
Fellas, they are heating up from outside now.
Yeah, of their last 5 hoops, 3 of them have come from long range. Well, you think about what Chris Paul meant to the Clippers, guys, not just on the floor, and that's pretty obvious. He's one of the best point guards in the league, if not the best. But it had more to do with the identity of the team. I think people took them seriously after that deal. And in fact, you know, in L.A., there was a budding rivalry between the Clippers and the Lakers for, you know, who was the city's best team. And that had never been a question before.
The Clippers have had 2 chances at the line already, making them both.
And guys, I'd have to credit the work they put in at the free throw line to practice this season. I mean, because they have noticeably improved since a year ago.
The Mavericks leading. Nowitzki outside. Puts up a 3. And the officials call over the back. A little too aggressive there.
That's already 2 fouls for him here in the first quarter. He's got to be careful.
The Clippers shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
And as a team, they're shooting about 75% on the year.
And the first one drops. And so he hits both. The Mavericks have gone 8 of 12 on field goal attempts so far. And it's Carter penetrating. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact and he'll shoot 2. For so long, Steve, you know, it seemed that the Clippers were always the second fiddle, but with Chris Paul ending up there and not in a Laker uniform, it just changed the whole mindset, Clark, it seems, of the franchise.
And if you've had the tough breaks that the Clippers have had over the years, you know, one big moment or big player acquisition like a Chris Paul can really move your franchise in a totally different direction.
Now here's Paul looking for his first bucket of the game. And that's collected by Nowitzki. Nowitzki's got 3 rebounds now in this one. Kept alive. Here's Kaman, and the shot is good.
Nice putback. That's why you want guys working hard on the boards at both ends of the floor.
Paul kicks to Crawford. Jacks up a 3. Good, and Paul gets the assist. Paul's got his 4th assist with that last one here tonight. Here's Marion. Drops in the layup for 2. Marion's got his 2nd basket of the game.
Right out of the gate, just filling it up.
Both teams are, guys. I mean, points coming fast and furious.
Here's Paul. No good trying to beat the buzzer. And that concludes a back-and-forth high-scoring. And And the second quarter getting underway. No team gaining an edge so far. And guys, what's your take so far on the Mavs?
I was impressed with their transition game, guys. They really got out and ran the lanes.
Yeah, they did. I mean, no better way to get easy buckets than through fast breaks.
And a moment now to reset the lineups, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up for the second quarter of basketball. On the floor for Dallas, Carter and Marion fill out the wings. Elton Brand is out there with Chris Kaman, and it's Mayo in at the one spot. Maverick shooting it as well as you're going to see, 67%.
Well, Chris Paul now with the Clippers. I mean, that franchise is renowned for its failure over the years to produce anything resembling a good basketball team. If there's one guy who could change the culture there, though, it's Chris Paul.
Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Well, guys, Blake Griffin has been a huge hit in the media capital of Los Angeles, but Blake doesn't want to get caught up in the fanfare. He said, I want to be a great basketball player. I don't necessarily want to be a star. I'm not in it to be famous. I want to try to be the best. Guys, his focus squarely on winning.
Well, they say when you win, all that other stuff comes anyway. So, we'll find out. Thanks, Doris. It's hauled in by Grant Hill. And Chris Paul has the type of game where if you really love hoops, you have to be a fan of his.
Yeah, no question. He's not a big guy, but boy, he does everything on the court you'd like to see a point guard do. He's quick, he's smart defensively, always amongst the league leaders in steals, if not leading the league in steals, and can take over a game at either end of the floor.
And stolen by Billups. And slam dunk by Butler.
And you really don't want to give up too many dunks like that. One is too many.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly you're right. That's making it way too easy for sure.
Yeah, major breakdown defensively. They've got to tighten things up here. Well, you think about Vince Carter in his day, just a real superstar in Toronto, and he gave us maybe the greatest dunk contest performance of all time back in 2000. But those days are behind him. Still a very capable player, but not a highlight reel guy each and every night.
Here's what the Clippers are going with right now. Matt Barnes is checked in for Hill, and it's Crawford in for Chauncey Billups. Paul against Mayo. Paul goes in, blanketed by the D. He fights to the rim for the win.
And guys, and you've seen it over the years, one thing about it with the aging former stars like Vince Carter, you got to try to watch how they operate. Every so often, when the knees are feeling good, they're capable of those throwback performances, but they're not quite as often seen with that type of explosiveness.
Here's Paul after Dirk Nowitzki's bucket. Releases from 15. Jordan can't get it to go. The Mavericks have gone 2 of 4 shooting the ball here in the second. Carter with it. Chris Paul covering. And there's Dirk Nowitzki on the assist by Carter. Carter's got 3 assists in the game.
With the moves they made in the offseason before the start of last year, the Clippers became a team with instant playoff pressure and expectations. They were actually expected to make the playoffs, and they did.
Crawford outside. Shot is no good. And it's Dallas the other way. Following this game, they hit the road to challenge the Suns at U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix. And that game will be game 2 of 3 straight on the road.
Some good games going on, and that Phoenix game especially has caught my eye.
And that's a strange place for the Clippers because for so long they really weren't viewed as a perennial playoff team. And now, Steve, all that has certainly changed.
Well, with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, now all of a sudden they've got 2 cornerstones. And it looks like they could be good for a long time. They've still got to get Chris Paul locked up contractually. If they can do that, now all of a sudden there's a turnaround from this horrendous Clipper history.
Ball against Bobois. Paul kicks to Crawford. Good, and Paul gets the assist. Paul's got his 8th assist in the game.
Kevin, they were a step late on their defensive rotation, and that helped them get right to the rim.
Well, you look at Vinny Del Negro, spent some time in the Phoenix Suns front office as a scout before moving on to the coaching ranks when he landed that first job with the Chicago Bulls.
And that one's good by Butler.
Soft defense right there. Way too soft.
Pass to Nowitzki. Over Hill. And there's Dirk Nowitzki on the assist by Bobois. 8 points for Nowitzki.
You know, he's given them a nice scoring option through most of this game.
And Steve, you go back to Vinny Del Negro, scout for the Suns prior to coaching. He was also in broadcasting.
Yeah, he's been around the game forever. You know, a lifer. His father was a coach. You know, it's in his blood. He actually grew up just outside of Springfield, Massachusetts, the home of the Hall of Fame. So Vinny, I guess, is just meant to be in basketball.
The three from Bobois. That's good. And the Mavericks lead by 5. And the Clippers decide to take their first time out here. And this matchup with the Mavericks is the first meeting of the season.
Yeah, I think they're a little better than this ball club, and it showed last year winning the season series.
Looking at who's out there now for the Mavericks. Brand comes in for Chris Kaman. And it's Carter in for Roddy Bobois. From the sideline, let's catch up with Doris Burke.
Hey guys, an amusing side note from last season was the quote "got 'em" game, which arose on Clippers team flights thanks to DeAndre Jordan. He began taking pictures of any teammates or even coaches who he caught sleeping on the flight and posting them on Twitter. As the game caught on, even DeAndre himself fell victim. He tried his best to stay awake, but all it took was a short 15-minute nap, and when he woke with a start, he looked at Blake Griffin, who said nothing, but merely smiled and nodded. Got him. Kevin?
Well, it sounds like fun, Doris, but the coaches might not think so. The players need their sleep. Chauncey Billups has checked in for the Clippers. The Mavericks also with a sub. Chris Kaman has checked in for Dirk Nowitzki. Steve just mentioned how they won the season series a year ago. That was the way it went against most teams they faced.
True. They were a very hard team to get the best of, Kevin.
Got such a good feel for his shot today, in a really good groove.
And the call will be against O.J. Mayo. That is his first foul of the game. A different look for the Clippers. Lonnie Turioff, he's checked in for DeAndre Jordan. Barnes comes in for Grant Hill. And it's Paul in for Jamal Crawford. Here's Butler. And a great assist by Paul as that one goes in. 10 points for Butler.
Seems to be getting better as this game goes on.
It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Carter and Dallas again with the bucket.
Starting to build a head of steam here. He had a good first quarter, but he's been even better here in the second.
Back to Butler. That one goes. Count it. Butler's got 8 here in the quarter.
It's been a great day for him from the field, but his team still trailing.
Outside Mayo. Back to Brand. Hammers it home.
Great finish there, Kevin. Took it strong to the cup.
Yeah, an aggressive two-handed jam.
And that's the kind you like, especially in traffic. You got to make sure.
Billups attacking. 1 second left. And a great assist by Paul as that one goes in. Billups has got his first 2 points of the night. And we're through 2 here and a good one. Mavericks ahead.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
And a fun game going on out in Los Angeles. Thanks for joining us. For the Dallas Mavericks, they have the lead against the Clippers. Boy, it's a real treat to see 2 elite teams just battling for supremacy. Quite a show being put on by Vince Carter. High percentage looks in the first half. Amazing work from the field, shooting in the high 60s. That's big-time bucket buying. And from the Clippers angle, they've been grinding away. They've been having their way inside. A huge...
Welcome back, the Staples Center, and above it, downtown Los Angeles in the distance.
What a great game for Vince Carter in this one. 19 points, and he's nailed 3 from long range. That's 9 points from deep.
Well, I like that he's not hesitating to pull the trigger. I mean, if he's got room, he's going to take the shot. He's putting some fear in this defense.
You typically get a bit of a grace period as an organization after you win an NBA title. But I can imagine the Mavs would have liked to have done better against the Thunder in last year's playoffs.
Yeah, getting swept did not taste good. So with Billups on the bench, here's who's on the floor now for Vinny Del Negro. Crawford and Butler out on the perimeter. DeAndre Jordan is out there with Hill, and it's Paul in at the point. Here's Jordan. Oh, the one-hand jam.
How How's that for an encore after the offensive board?
That's the only way he knows how to do it. Monster stuff.
Oh, he makes life miserable down around the paint for anybody who's trying to box him out.
Rejected by Nowitzki. And DeAndre Jordan throws it down. And here is Mayo. He's got 6. Second half just getting started. About a minute played. Out to Carter from downtown. And that one's good. Carter's got 22. Clark, as you mentioned with the Mavs, no team likes to go one and done in the postseason. But that's exactly what happened to them, especially when you know some of your stars are aging. And they've got some age here right now, Steve.
Yeah, but they've got some house money to play with, Kevin, because of that championship the season before. But, you know, Dallas is now in a transition phase. They knew their stars were getting older, so they had a pretty good draft this past summer. Now it's a time to move forward to the next era of Mavs basketball.
They get it back. Crawford kicks to Butler. Butler missing again. And Jordan slams it home.
There he goes again, that lower body root canal, clearing out space under the offensive glass.
Yeah, that is an area he absolutely excels in. Dentistry or not.
Does he need Novocaine for that?
Special thanks to Sprite for that sweet replay. Nowitzki, good.
You know, it's interesting. Sometimes with him, the contested shots are the ones that he tends to make. You know, sometimes if he's wide open, he misses, but you get a hand in his face, he seems to relish it.
And he is also so good at getting his hands on the ball without fouling when an opposing player is on his way to the hoop. That's a real knack. Excellent hand-eye coordination makes that possible for him.
And here's some players that you want on the line as often as possible these days. For the past month, these are the leading free throw shooting 2 guards in the league. Second, Jamal Crawford.
Well, we've gotten used to seeing a lot of terrific free throw shooters from the 2-guard spot, but even so, it shouldn't take away from what these players have been able to do up there.
Yeah, that's right, because all they have done up there is convert their chances. That's it, plain and simple. These are the steadiest hands you're going to find, not just in their position, but in the league overall.
The shot is off. Good work defensively by Carter. Mavericks leading by 4.
Well, you remember last year, Dirk Nowitzki had some trouble early in the year with soreness and stiffness in his knees, probably the result of playing for Germany over the summer, and then also the shortened training camp and the condensed schedule. But it's great to see Dirk back with his form and playing as that elite player we're used to seeing.
A shot by Marion, no good. Clippers shooting just 33% in the second.
Strong finish right there, partner. You hear me? That was ammonia strong.
Yeah, ripped it down with 2 hands.
That's about as high percentage as you can get.
That was a nice replay brought to you by Sprite. Here's Carter. It's hauled in by DeAndre Jordan. It's a neck-and-neck game here in Los Angeles.
Man, that was unreal. Mark it up. Took that ball up there and banged it home. Yeah, man, that was nice.
Little Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, that was strong.
Simple, direct, and
Man, what a play. He's definitely showing some real sweet dunking skills here.
Are you kidding me? Oh, my gosh. What a play.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Los Angeles calls timeout.
The Clippers had a number of guards at the beginning of the season, and a lot of those guys were point guards, and eventually they found the best rotation for those guards.
Here's what the Clippers are going with right now. Trey Tompkins checked in for Hill. Barnes comes in for Caron Butler. And Chauncey Billups has subbed in for Chris Paul. Gets it to go.
Kevin, great finish on the low block. I love it.
The Mavericks have gone 4 of 6 from the field since the start of the third. Here's Cunningham. The shot misses. So the Clippers will take it the other way. Back to the Clippers, sometimes they had to go a little bit small, running 2 guards, in fact 2 point guards, but Steve worked out overall for them.
And I think the reason it works, Kevin, is that those guards, despite their lack of height, were very smart and very strong. I mean, you look at Chris Paul, Eric Bledsoe as well. Those guys are able to guard players taller than them because of their immense strength.
Here's Billups, averaging 10 points per contest. He feeds it to Tompkins. He dishes it to Crawford. For the three, Crawford missing again.
Yeah, he's struggled with his shot this quarter, and he's got to find a groove somehow.
Barnes passes to Billups. There's the dish to Tompkins. Lets it fly from 18. And that's good for 2. Tompkins has got his second bucket of the game to go. Mayo dishing to Cunningham. Leads him in there. And Wright kicks to Cunningham. Another 3 for Dallas.
That's now 6 straight points off open threes. Get a hand up, fellas. Pay attention to the scouting report.
Well, you know how quickly things can go south when you start giving up wide open looks to this team.
Crawford, no luck.
Once he had to change the shot because of the hand in his face, you knew he wasn't going to make it.
It's tipped. There's 21 seconds left in the third. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot. This is his first free throw of the game.
You know, last game he turned in a really nice performance at the charity strike.
Yeah, it really stands out when you look back at the numbers from that one.
Guys, I like that this is a part of his game that has really been consistent this year.
Both free throws good from Crawford.
Always someone you love having at the line.
The Mavericks have gone 6 of 9 from the floor here in the second half. They've got to be happy with that. Here's Paul. And hits one. Maybe he's ready to get back on track.
Turnover problems for them, and they've just looked lackluster out there.
Yeah, sometimes you have off games, but you always have to bring the effort, and I'm not sure I'm seeing that right now.
Cunningham gets the bucket.
Well, there's not a whole lot you can do when a team gets this hot from three-point land.
All you can really do is hope that they cool off. I mean, the way it's going for them in the second half here, I don't see any sign of that happening.
And 68.
Coming up.
Mavericks leading by 3. On the court for the Mavericks. Beaubois and Carter pair up in the backcourt. Dirk and Brand playing up front. And it's Crowder in at the 3 spot. Paul goes in. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
What a roller coaster ride it was for Chris Paul last season. Traded originally from New Orleans to the Lakers. That deal was rescinded. Then he was moved to the Clippers, where, of course, he teamed with Blake Griffin to form one of the highlight reel duos in the NBA.
And going back to the Chris Paul trade saga, you know, it's so unusual to have one trade veto. Then end up in the same town and in the same arena, but on a different team. That was a weird story for him.
Yeah, and I think it's fed into the rivalry between the Lakers and Clippers, quite honestly, Kevin. I mean, you're right. It was very unique and weird and strange and funky, but I think it's fueled what looks to be a rivalry that'll last for a while in L.A.
The Mavericks leading. Outside Carter. Billups gets the rebound. The Clippers shooting with confidence, 50% from the field so far. Fades back. Mavericks with the rebound. Nowitzki's got 9 rebounds in the game, getting it done. Brand passes to Marion, launches it, and it's Carter missing. Now here's Hill. Outside Butler. Back to Paul. Feeds it to Hill. Puts the lead pass in front of him. And it's blocked. Tries to keep it alive. Out of bounds, Dallas will take possession. And here's a quick look at how the Clippers' schedule is shaping up. Next matchup, they'll be home against the Suns. They'll find themselves in the middle of this string of 3 straight at home.
Well, I'm anxious to see what ends up happening with that Bulls game. Should be a good one.
Catching up on the changes for Dallas. Chris Kaman has checked in for Brand, and Dominique Jones subbed in for Vince Carter. And again, it's the Clippers missing.
When he's wide open like that, he'll rarely miss those.
Here's Marion. Chris Paul grabs the miss. Paul's got 3 rebounds now in this one. Phillips from outside. The Mavericks pull it in.
You know, even though he missed that three-point shot, I think the defense has to do a better job of challenging the shot.
Yeah, because you know if you continue to give up open looks like that, you're in big trouble.
Lets it go. The 7-footer falls.
Right now, they're just pillow-like inside. Way too soft. Too many looks at and around the hoop.
Yeah, totally agree, Clark. 10 of the last 12 points now that they surrendered have come inside that lane area.
You know, that's a problem he has. I mean, not being able to knock down that open jumper. I think it happens far too often.
To take the lead. Offensive rebound. Back to Paul. And there's the feed to Hill. To tie it up. No good. Some solid D from Nowitzki. Marion dishes to Jones. Paul with the defensive effort.
Excellent. Really solid job, actually, by the defense to get in his way as he was going up for that one.
Phillips kicks to Butler. Over Marion. And it's Butler missing. The Mavericks shooting has been outstanding in this game at 58%. Rebound by Caron Butler. Butler's got rebound number 7 for him tonight.
It's been a struggle for him offensively tonight, and they'd love to have his production out there.
Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for Chauncey Billups. And Dallas with a change here, too. Carter's checked in. Here's Crawford. And it's all evened up. A bit under 3.5 minutes have passed here in the fourth. Back to Marion. Nowitzki outside. Over Hill. Again, the miss by the Mavericks. They could retake the lead after trailing for a while.
Well, nice work to hang around and just put themselves in this position.
And that is good.
Well, he earned that one. Took the hit and still found a way to knock it down.
Yeah, fantastic body control. And the will to get it done. You like that focus.
That's amazing. They have yet to miss a free throw this half.
And as calm and collected as they look up there, I'm not sure they'll ever miss one the rest of the way.
And it's his poise at the offensive end that impresses me most. This guy is unflappable.
Crawford with the ball. And it's Carter picking him up. Crawford kicks to Paul. Lobs it up there. And the dunk by Jordan.
Flawless alley-oop that time. That's some real stylish basketball there.
Almost looks like a play they've been rehearsing for a while.
Well, that's the beauty of the alley-oop. It appears that way, but really it's just timing and sort of an innate sense of awareness between two teammates. Really not providing much offensively here in the fourth quarter. Only one made hoop.
And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
Guys, I had a chance to find out what Vinny Del Negro was discussing with his players. He tried to really fire them up to bring it home, saying, all night, you have all night to rest after the final buzzer. For now, we have to lay it on the line and try to bring it home. Guys, back to you.
Took the opportunity when he saw it. 20 points for Crawford.
That's the way to get the board there.
He's been rebounding well all game long. .129 left in the game. Took him no time at all on that one. 15 points for Nowitzki.
Unbelievable. 3-pointers for both sides in just a matter of seconds.
Now I think it's a matter of them just trying to top each other.
Here's Butler. From 16 feet away, he cans it. And the Clippers lead by 3.
And now the crowd really getting into it.
Listen to that.
It is shaking in here, guys. Absolutely insane.
Mayo, that's good.
Whoa, that's a big shot right there.
And that one really took the air out of this crowd.
Kevin, the silence is deafening.
Here's Jordan. Goes up high for the two-handed dunk.
You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Dallas has gone beyond the arc 7 times here in the fourth and been successful 3 times. Mayo off the pick from Nowitzki. Shot by Mayo is no good. The Clippers shooting about 40% here in the fourth quarter. Here's a quick shot. Count.
Big time shot. Really clutch.
Mavericks shooting a paltry 33% in the fourth. Not a good showing for this offense. Carter, the pass to Nowitzki. Buries it. And that shot brings them to within just one.
Nowitzki, what an offensive force he can be.
We can probably expect to see him slow it down now.
Yeah, you got the lead. Burn some clock here.
Smart move.
Yep.
Passes to Crawford. It's in.
You know, they got a foul to give here if they need it.
Well, definitely something to keep in mind for them right now. They can be very aggressive.
And the Mavericks call time here. They trail by 3. 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter. What do you think, guys?
Well, they've got two options here. They can go for the 3 and the tie, or the quick 2 and the foul.
I like the idea of going for the quick 2. Take it to the rim, and that wouldn't be a bad way to approach this situation.
And here's Mayo from beyond the arc. It's good. A tremendous 3 to tie it up.
All of those three-pointers coming off his fingers have been right on the money.
There's 18 seconds left in the fourth. Crawford against Carter. 18 feet out. It falls! And here's Marion. Mayo dishing to Nowitzki. Count it!
It's been a humongous fourth quarter for him, especially from long range. He's in a groove. That trail here has just been dead.
So it's a narrow victory for the Mavericks, pulling out the W. And Clark, you know, it was quite a nail-biter.
Yeah, it was tight. Their guys were able to come up with big plays down the stretch, and that's the difference.
Thanks for tuning in to the NBA on 2K Sports. For Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan. We'll see you next time. And now, our Jordan Player of the Game,